the most professional of entrances for the show. Welcome back to Into the Mind of Madness. It's a new week, new glasses, and it's a post-World season. I guess we kind of look at Worlds as the culmination of the year from the preceding year of Worlds. It is a yearly event. It came a little earlier this year. Last year was in November. This year it's in September, so 2 months earlier. So 10-month season this time around. But boy, oh boy, did we have a really big collection of figures to run from. So I'm going to be talking about my experience at Worlds, just so that when we do the Meta Lab next Monday, it's not too long. As well, I want to get it kind of out while it's fresh in my brain, because I had the chance to meet a lot of you in person, and that was a delightful experience as always. So, also, do not worry about that mark on my nose. I scratched myself in my sleep. It is nothing to worry about. All right. So, as has always been, the goal of this show is always a two-part thing. The first part is kind of, share with you updates for the channel. The other part, of course, being a little bit of slice of life stuff. What have I been up to? And then we get back into the whole reason we have this channel, which is Heroclix. All right, so first things first is, this stems from a lot of our experience over at Worlds. Worlds was, I'm going to bury the lead on this one, as Tom likes to say. I had such a great time at Worlds. You'll see there's a new Balor in the collection. Thank you very much, Stephen Clark Jr., for that. It was a good time, and part of that good time, we had some really good conversations with some really good people, and ultimately, I've come up with some new goals for the channel. So the long and the short of it is I want to get back to getting some of our recorded content out there. And the most requested in person was, of course, Dial It Up, because I can't tell you how many players came up to us and said, Dial It Up taught us how to play Heroclix. And Dial It Up was always reserved for weird rules interactions. We've never taught the basics through that show. We've always taught weird rules interactions that people may or may not understand or be aware of, and try to make them as clear as possible for you. So we are going to bring that show back. It's not going to be as frequently as we used to. It's really hard to do that on a weekly basis, and we have to kind of come back from a new point of view of rules understandings. Part of what we were really good at with Dial It Up was being able to interpret how a ruling was going to be made. And lately, because of the massive rules changes, what we thought would work lately has actually been incorrect in a lot of cases. So we want to go back, and what we're going to do is take rulings that have already been made and do our best to explain either ideas behind them or in layman's terms for some people, just to kind of quickly understand. We won't be necessarily justifying them, but we will kind of explain the rules in whole. So we're coming back to that. As well, some of you may remember while we were doing the Married Lab, which, is our other show that was kind of a live show when me and Amber talked. Amber felt a little defeated after Canadian Nationals. And we want to come back to a place where Amber feels confident enough to be competitive again, which is why I want to start a new show. I haven't come up with a name yet for it, but my goal with this show is to kind of sit down with Amber and talk strategy, talk the metagame with her. And for that, we are going to focus mainly on the new Pauper format. Now, we're going to try to get one episode of that show out a month. So we're going to try to get one recorded show out per week, with a different one out each week, hopefully. We're going to bring back Superlex onto the channel because Alexis is now playing games in tournaments. She's been coming with us to our new venue over at Dolly's West here in Mississauga in the Clarkson area, and she's been playing Heroclix with new players and myself and Amber for the most part. So she's getting into the game and kind of understanding the game a lot better, and we're gonna turn that into the return of her and learning the game from a young lady's perspective. So that's kind of our plans in the long run. In addition to which, we're going to see a pseudo return for Everyman for everyone, but it's not going to be focused on the Everyman format. In fact, I'm only going to run this particular show. It's going to be a live show, much like this one, much like the Metal Lab. But I'm going to run it with the focus being on states. So between now and October, the only other thing coming out is the WWE stuff, which I have more to talk about in regards to that. That said, the WWE stuff, at most, if I understand this correctly, and the way that they're running this Pauper Highlander format for states, is that at most is going to add 10 figures to the format. And what I want to do is talk about the Pauper format that's going to be used in November for states. It's not my Everyman format. I'm sorry. I did my best to make that strong, but more people want to play with more stuff, and I kind of get that. So the Pauper format, which is the common and uncommon format, which is coming up for states, which is kind of its own Highlander thing, is what we're going to discuss to replace Everyman for Everyone, which will be alternating weeks on this show. Because Into the Mind of Madness, we really ramp it up around Canadian Nationals, where I'm really getting competitive, or around WKOs. So I'm going to alternate week by week on those shows. So Thursday night there will be a live show. Monday there will be a live show. Thursday is going to be a live show, and the live show will alternate between this one, which is Into the Mind of Madness, and another one which will be the States Prep. Dial P for Pauper. I don't know. I haven't come up with a name for it. What I do want to kind of avoid is, of course, those accidental clicks for Magic players, because, well, their community hasn't been the best lately. So I don't want them sneaking into my Heroclix channels until they calm down. That's another reason, my naming convention was the way it was. So, that aside, that's our update. We got a lot of cool ideas coming ahead. And a lot of this stemmed from discussions we had I personally had with Scott D'Agostino, and I think Amber spent some time talking with him. And I was really motivated to get the word out on this game, because we're going to get right into it. Worlds was probably the best event WizKids has ever put on. And the most important, and the first part I want to specify, is this was convention free. We did not have to pay for an Origins Pass. We did not have to pay for a PAX Pass. We did not have to pay for green eggs and ham. I did not like them, Sam. This was strictly a WizKids event. So the only things occurring were WizKids games going on, Dice Masters, and Attack Wing. And what's more is the room was packed with Heroclix players. We are WizKids game when it comes down to it. Dice Masters did have a fair showing for the Worlds, and it was a very sizable showing. Credit to them. And it was good to see a couple of our Heroclix players who play Dice Masters more at Comic Warehouse, Jocelyn and her husband, I believe, Rob. Sorry, I forgot you guys' names. But it was good to see them on the plane on the way there. Our plane going to Memphis had 13 players going to this WizKids event, and there was 20 people maybe on our plane. We dominated the plane alone, coming from Toronto to Memphis. One plane, which was very, very nice and cozy and convenient. So we got there. The guest house at Graceland was a fantastic hotel. It was great. I'm so happy WizKids was able to book the block for that, and it was worth every penny. And the discounts and everything on it that they got for us was très magnifique. So I want to thank WizKids for that. From the deepest, darkest parts of my abyss that I call my heart. Yeah, and offering us the extra LEs with the tour package really worked out. We were super happy with that stuff. We scored big time, myself and Amber, because we had 4 bags they handed us, and we kind of randomized it. I put them all on a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, Mike chose, Devin chose, and me and Amber had the other two. And so in our bag we had a guaranteed Storm and a guaranteed Raven, along with another Conning the Leaf from last year. And Amber and I scored big time with a Lockjaw and a Power Woman. Huge scores, because I know lots of people locally who are still looking for those. So I was able to help some friends get their hands on those and put some smiles on some faces. So we set aside all that. We go to the event itself. I'm going to try to avoid too many details about Team Worlds, because we're going to have more to talk about that on the Metal Lab next Monday. But I do want to say I was the deadweight of the team. But I did love playing the Team World format for this set. No matter how many times I got some practice opens and stuff like that, it was, even though I personally did not fare well, it was a great experience overall. And it is a fantastic set. I think for the Seal format. I ran into some funny things, to say the least, and I ran into some really wacky dice. So in that event, 5 people have learned the horrors that is Jason Collins' dice. But we'll go more into that on the Metal Lab, just because Mike will be there, and we shared that experience, and we'll have more information to share on that one. Aries in the house. So we go to Singles Worlds, and I didn't really talk about the team I ended up playing because I was babbling and being crazy on Into the Mind of Madness. The team I played was the Earth X Iron Man, Isaac, the WKO prize figure. You see a theme going. A Tri-Sentinel, and a Skeets at 35 points, along with Prez Rickard, an Ice Ring, a location bonus, and 5 student ID cards. If you haven't quite caught what the team does, in brief, I've got 3 sources of barrier on the team, and lots of bystander making. I wish I had remembered that in the first 2 rounds, because it didn't go so well for me on that. I did also find that I was trying too hard to focus on getting more of the bystanders out, as opposed to trying to just do the best I could with what I had. And ultimately I didn't learn that until round 3. My first round was against Steven DiCarlo. I didn't recognize him at first myself. I knew the name after I had signed the sheets, and it's like, oh, well, okay, I guess it's okay to lose to him. Round 2, I believe the player's name was Mike, played a really strange version of our specific cosmic, the popular cosmic theme team, where he didn't have any ID cards, but he did have some extra stuff on the table. So I thought that was pretty cool. And only thing I was able to kill on his team was a Groot, who I missed with my Tri-Sentinel. It was rough. I mean, for the most part, I was rolling against some pretty high dice numbers, so I can't really complain about my dice. Like, I'll complain when I need 5s and 6s to hit, and I can't get that after 5 or 6 attempts. But when I'm rolling against like 19 20s and all I need is a 6, that's when I get a little spicy with myself. So that said, second game didn't go so well. Third round, I believe the player's name was Matt. Nice to meet a fellow video game developer, video game employee, person in the industry. There it is, a fellow industry member. He was playing Medusas, and it was a cool team. But a lot of it came down to the fact that I could stem the tide and attack with Pox, because you really have 2 options with a Medusa team against my team, which is go right across. Like he put it on one of those extended starting area maps, so I had no choice but to deal with him right out of the gates. In addition to which, he kind of just zoomed right to my face. So he went right past my Pogs, who were still alive. Had a bit of a walk to get to where they're going. I always started with Monolith and Steel Bow, but I was able to, in some cases, get Medusas killed with 1 shot, and or get them down enough to be easier to kill on the next shot, and pull that one out of the dirt for me. I don't remember using too many IDs in that game. I don't think I used any for that matter, but definitely was an uphill battle right out. Like it's one of those things. If I can stem and survive that first wave of Medusas, I can kind of make the comeback with my team. That was evident in that game and the next one for that matter. Second game was up against Antonio Clark, who, if you were in the event, you saw him drawing characters on. They had these like red and black table covers all over the place, and he just with a Sharpie was sketching out characters. And WizKids was all game for it. They loved it and just encouraged him to do it. So we would go table to table and just sketch out comic book characters while we were waiting for the tournaments to start. And he ended up doing I got a couple snaps of it. I gotta get sharing on social media soon enough. We're like just kind of coming back and getting that hour back for our life, to be honest. So, but I saw him draw out like a Moon Knight, a Wolverine. I played him on one of his drawing of Phoenix, so I thought that was really, really cool. And as a result, we got to a nice chit chat beforehand. I was really impressed with his art, and his team was a non-themed Medusa focused event team that he added Mr. Terrific to. It was 3 Medusas, Mr. Terrific, and what's his name? Phil Coulson, and a Shield Diplomat. And the goal was obviously to get in my face, but you score probability control and other resources from the tokens that Phil Coulson has. And I'll tell you, I thought I was going to lose this game big time. He was in my face. He was attacking me. He was doing damage. He killed everything that wasn't named Iron Man or Isaac, and I was quite frightened at one point. I think and it came down to I think he got my Isaac down to stop click, which popped out the other dudes, which is all fine and dandy, but I still get past those defenses. Because I had one map, I got a roll, a monolith, and I kept it just outside of a certain range, and then sidestepped in the monolith, quaked his entire team, and just did a ton of damage, and then followed up with a Kitty Pride call-in, ended up killing 2 Medusas on an energy explosion, and just kind of fought my way back. So it was a really, really tight game. When he got himself down, when he was down to just the 1 Medusa with a 16 defense with combat reflexes, he kind of called it quits. Kind of I guess he saw the writing on the wall in that case. And that was that game. It was a good game, and I swear I thought I was on my back feet for most of it. So, what else? And then my last 5th round was up against Brandon. And Brandon was playing the more traditional Kobik build, but I think because both of us were in a more desperate position of knowing we had to win out, he may have been playing a little bit more desperately. The reason I say this is this was the game where I used the barriers that I had available to maximize my forced positioning. I say this because his team was capable of getting that first strike that everybody who had a Cyclops call in was able to get on my Tri-Sentinel. It was something I was almost impossible for me to avoid. I tried. It didn't go. So when I was stuck with that, my next bet was to how do I put this? To put myself in a position where he might be able to get to the Tri-Sentinel, but it'll be on my terms, and force him to like the other end of my starting area, which kind of stretches his. It's hard to explain, but it was on the Poison Ivy map, which had the extended starting areas, and he was He was getting himself around, trying to get around me. Had the one opening, was able to use it to outwit my energy shield to Cyclops shoot me. But where I forced him to, he had to use a side step on the Cyclops to get out of hindering terrain so that he could finish up his running shot, and as a result wasn't able to poof him. So from there, my goal was, I have 3 damage to do to a Cyclops. Can I get him? And it took all 4 of my actions to do it. Because the easiest and best option I had was to range combat expert with steel bow, needing a 7, targeting Cyclops. I was, I believe, out of the range of Mr. Oz in this case, but I wasn't out of Kobik or what's his name's Unseen's reach. I did have Crimson Sage available for a prob, which I had to use to get the initial hit in the first place, and then try to blast through the next 2 probability controls. His probability control on Unseen turned it back into a hit, and then Kobik just one of the 2 just kind of turned it into not a hit. And I had the hem and haw. He used a smoke cloud with the Unseen, which put smoke in the way, and the only way I could get range and line of fire with Lord Gaia was to sit in the smoke cloud, and he perplexed up the defense on his Cyclops as well. So it was an 18 defense in hindering terrain, and I had Lord Gaia, and it was literally like a 1 in. It was not a very high chance of being able to make this shot. I needed a 10 to hit. Wayne Gretzky'd it. You know, it's you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I took it. I didn't miss. I hit a 10. Jason dice are gone. Was what I thought. So I managed to kill that, and then, you know, he then tried to call in with a Jean Grey. Tried to get 2 things killed with his Jean Grey call in. Ultimately, that again caused the Jean Grey to be forced to be on the table. I was able to call out Lord Chaos to TK Lord Gaia. Sorry, it's Lord Stressoraz or Stellarex. It's Stellarex that does this, that did the kill, and Lord Gaia, who was already on the board for some barrier, got TK'd right next to Jean Grey, and I was able to use my monolith to kill a Groot with +2 to my attack and +1 to attack, +1 to my damage with all of this with close combat expert against the Jean Grey. I had to double check the card because I've never had a chance to actually attack Jean Grey at 60 points. So I was like, how many clicks are I going to do? She's not usually here. And then from here it was a matter of trying to play against Brandon, who's on his back foot, because I'm keeping track of score, and at this point I'm in the hundreds, and he's still only at 83. He only ended up scoring 83, to be honest. So he got his Unseen out there, and then so my next step was to call out a Beast, give him the +1 to his stats, and have him carry Skeets to the attack, because Skeets just doesn't matter what kind of attack, it's a +1 to his attack, which is awesome. So a 12 attack Beast against an Unseen, if I can pull off the hit, I'm a 50-50 to keep the hit, and power of positivity on this one. He rolled a 2 or 3 on his Super Sense roll. I was relieved because 4 damage kills Unseen, and things are really going well for me. At this point, it's 259. I think I've scored like 259 odd points. I've killed a Groot, killed a Unseen. I've killed 130 points with a Collins. So I'm really in the black, as they call it in accounting, or really ahead, and just slowly trying to get as many points as I could to try to possibly get to that 300. I was stuck with the 259 points, left it like 915 points, and placed in 36. So I missed the cut. In all honesty, a little bit of better play out of me on the first two games, and I may have had a different result. But I am not unhappy with the way my team did, because I got to play Heroclix. Personally, having tested the Cosmic teams, I was lacking in the fun factor. I personally wasn't having fun. That's not to crap on anybody who is enjoying themselves playing those teams. They're very good teams that are capable of a lot of really neat things. I personally wasn't enjoying the type of play that I was getting out of it. So I wanted to go back to Jason play and found a team that could compete potentially, and did what I could with it with kind of limited results. Feel though, if I was to go back in time, I would have gotten at least 1 or 2 practice games in it, and I'm a little bit more well versed in Roll20, so that is an option in my life now. Roll20 did kind of give me, I got like 1 or 2 games on Roll20 before the event, not necessarily with the table, but, or not necessarily with this team, but in general, overall really good. So, looking to the future, or in hindsight, a couple things I wished. I wished X-Men was out a little earlier, so that I could have played some really great ideas I've got from the X-Men animated set. And one of those themes is the robot theme. I think it's there, and I just kind of want to get in on that action. Another is going into Pauper. I'm committing to something really weird, and I need to accumulate things. I will talk about that more. This Thursday, I'm going to start that show because this is a weird Into the Mind of Madness. This is our post-Worlds wrap-up. But that said, the Battle Royales I got to play, for the most part, were really enjoyable. Aries is in the chat right now. He's watching live. Aries Edge from 2 Clicks from KO and from the Heroclix International Exchange Group. You can catch him on a regular basis live on Facebook, doing dishes and talking Heroclix with people. It honestly is one of the neatest things that we have in the Heroclix community is a video. Is chit chatting live with Aries while he does dishes, talks Heroclix, and teaches people how to behave in the trade forums. Like, for instance, right now, X-Men Animated Series is out in the world, but is not out yet. It is in the season of what we like to call pre-release pricing. And pre-release pricing is high. And to have the money or the need to purchase at pre-release pricing, you also have to be high, in my opinion. Or you have to be super excited. If you are purchasing at pre-release pricing, you should know what you're doing, which is spending a lot of money to try to be the first one to get things. Now, one of the things that's occurred is that Hurricane Dorian did slow down the process. As a result, the set was delayed till September 25th in the U.S., from what I am understanding. So, keep your eyes open on that. Anyway, back to the Battle Royales. My second Battle Royale, I believe, was actually with Aries, and it was a ton of fun. We were playing against a few newer players, and they were caught off guard with what Wendigo does, which was apparently kill a frenzy very quickly. Aries ended up winning this Battle Royale because the 2 guys across the table from us saw what I did with Wendigo and tried to do a lot of damage to me. There is something to be said about Battle Royaling and dial knowledge. If you don't go in with the right dial knowledge set, you are going to get caught off guard when something doesn't die and somebody like Aries just picks up the slack. So don't let dials linger. Get them dead. Or just, they're gone. Just admit that they're gone and move on with your life. It's a tough format. It's also a very tough format to take seriously. And it is something we've come across, and I kind of want to put this out there. If you go to a HeroClix Battle Royale with nothing but the intention to win and nothing but the intention to get the prizing, you are doing it wrong. It is literally the least competitive format in existence. It is... The strength of your team is almost 100% based on luck. Why are you putting up barriers? Be outside. That was pretty funny. But yeah, if you are taking your Battle Royales too seriously, you got to kind of step back and look at where you are. They're fun. Yeah, if you win, you get the prize, which is pretty cool. But there was guys, I didn't hear this firsthand, but I heard this third hand, who were complaining when people were giving each other advice. And it's like, in a lot of cases, battle royales, I have seen them be a starting point for players, or an introduction for players, or a place where players who go to Worlds who are very new to the game can safely play. And when you create that kind of environment, you're not helping that type of player. So, my battle royale, advice to you is don't take it so damn seriously. If it was meant to be taken seriously, there'd be point limits on it. It's not meant to be taken seriously. Go nuts, have fun, let other people have fun, let everybody kind of join in the strategy talk. And then get political and smirk a little when you're saying, hey, you should kill that thing, but you got a lot of points left. Disregard my points. I'd said that in one battle royale. It's like, don't worry about how many points I got. You should take care of that. My first battle royale was actually involved Amber, along with Alyssa McNeil, I believe her name is, and another player whose name I didn't get, and I apologize because I saw him twice and he's a great guy. We talked a couple times throughout the event, but I was also learning a lot of new names, so I apologize if I forgot your name. But he was a ton of fun. Unfortunately, was the butt end of a lot of the beatdown in this game. But Red Onslaught in the battle royale format is insane. He can go 2 or 3 squares out of the starting area, and then he's done. And he doesn't have to go anywhere, and they have to come to him if they're going to get him. So brace yourself if you see that. He's going to be leadership tokening people, and he's going to be putting tokens on people with his leadership. That's how insane he is. That's insanity right on its own. Anyway, had a good old time in battle royales. I don't think I won any of them, but I was also... I played battle royales weird. Or I picked battle royales weird. If I was not in first place, and there was one of those generic sentinels or the Friends of Humanity, those were getting picked early. Because I was a magnet for Ambrose Chase. He was on every single table that I was battle royaling on. I apologize to everybody who played in those battle royales because he's already kind of out in the world. I mean, I already had mine. So I was going after Friends of Humanity. I was going after the generic Sentinels. I was going after a lot of generic figures unless there was some kind of high rarity figure I didn't necessarily have, which didn't happen too frequently. Oddly enough, I always kind of let a Gambit linger a little too long on the table. But, it's neither here nor there. So, all in all, the whole experience to me was very positive. I can't take very many negatives out of everything, and I'm really looking forward to seeing WizKids do this more. I would like to see them do this with U.S. Nationals. Canadian Nationals has kind of been its own thing for a while. It does happen to be run by a store, but that's okay. And I know Origins is, and when it comes to conventions, Origins isn't the most expensive one. It's actually kind of inexpensive in the grand scale of cons. But you do still have to buy that pass, which is, it is its thing. If they could get U.S. Nationals like Worlds was and just get it in there, I think we'd see very similar results. Subsequently, don't overprice it, so on and so forth. Make sure there's new stuff coming into Worlds, and you'll be A-okay. But yeah, just, if they can continue this trend and recognize the fact that they can definitely run their own event, we have a fantastic future ahead of us for Heroclix, and I want us all to know that. All right, that said, I want to talk about my highlight of the weekend. And that was, we were talking with Scott D'Agostino, and it got to the conversation about the WWE clicks, and I think he visibly and palpably saw how excited I was for this stuff. Because after World Championships was over, myself and him, or him and myself, we took the chance to open up that Mixed Match Challenge starter kit, show off the stuff that's in there, and we got the exclusive first look at all the stuff. If you follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/marriedwithclicks, We put up all the dials, all the card stuff. I apologize. I missed the point value side of the card on the new ring. The ring is now 5, or this ring is 5 points, much like the boxing ring. It operates on similar fundamentals, but it all operates 100% differently, even though the fundamentals are similar. And me and Scott got to play with. I got to use the new Mixed Match Challenge Finn Balor and Sasha Banks while he was using the new AJ Styles and Charlotte Flair, and we did it live, and it is on their Facebook. Again, we've shared it on our Facebook. It is on WizKids' Facebook. It's a live shared video that they have out there, and I 1,000 billion thanks to Scott for giving me the chance to help show this stuff to the world and show how the new stuff looks in the new kit and how it plays. We also got to talking about how the new rule book is going to kind of look and a lot of the things that have really changed about it. And without going into too much detail, the rule book will be stripped down. Do not expect this to be the most recent version of the rulebook that we need to play Heroclix with comic book characters. There's a lot of things that they kind of they pulled out of the rules that don't apply to the WWE stuff. Specifically, things like elevated terrain or range. They just don't have it. So, a lot of things are pulled out. But then when you integrate them into the other stuff, it all kind of just applies because they have those extra pages and wordings and stuff like that. And the pack is lacking certain powers because they don't operate that way in that set. So, and it's going to be great for the type of rabid WWE fan that exists in the world. And WWE stuff, fans love WWE stuff. And getting getting wrestling fans into this game, I mean, a lot of us already are. Let's not kid ourselves. If you're not a wrestling fan, that's fine. I can throw a rock and hit 2 of them. I'll bounce it off of Aries' head and hit myself. It'll ricochet off of David Gosselman, hit Daniel Powell, hit DJ Riggin, and those are just the famous the podcast guys that are really into wrestling. A lot of players of the game of HeroClix fall into fans of wrestling, and it's in addition to which, you'll find that the fans of wrestling will find themselves in this game as well. So, to get back to the brass taxes here, and what we are as a show, the wrestling ring, once the boxing ring cycles out, is easily going to take its place. It might even be something you want in it now, because if instead of modifying stats, which we can get around with things like Perplex, it forces rerolls. It's non-probability control rerolls, and it's fundamentally a really cool thing to have. And because it's part of a starter set, it's definitely worth having. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, I think this thing will be important to the game of HeroClix, whether you're a wrestling fan or not. And as well, when you think on the big grand scale of the pick-a-power things, this ring is all you need to pick the wrestling standard powers on your guys. So if you have a Witch Queen LeFay and you want to use lightning speed or slingshot, or I think is it slingshot an attack? I don't remember. But if you want to use the 3 WWE movement powers, nimble as well, as part of your Witch Queen LeFay's movement stack, awesome. Get her an extra specs and add some attack powers to it. I mean, if you can get a character with the Remaker ring, or get a character with submission hold with a Remaker ring, you got 2 free actions to do 2 free damage and immobilize a character. That's pretty crazy in the grand scale of it. And all it takes is a 5-point addition to your team. So, without a shadow of a doubt, the Mixed Match Challenge is probably going to be a must-have for players of the game of HeroClix. And that comes in a starter set with arguably a relatively reasonable character in Finn Balor, a source of probability control in Charlotte Flair and AJ Styles, and a really neat support character in Sasha Banks, who kind of flip-flops in her dial, but she's really good. I feel like she might be too many points. She might be 70 points, But she's got submission hold. She's got perplex to start. She gets some prob, I believe, late in the dial. She has some empower. I don't have my own copies of the dial check there. But if you want to check them out at facebook.com/Heroclix, the pictures are up there for you to look at. We put a whole album of everything that's in there so you can get a look at it. We didn't put all the pages of the rulebook, obviously, but we got that front page of that single rulebook. I love that the light objects, at minimum, included a table, ladder, and chairs. Also included stairs, a briefcase. I can't remember what the other thing was, but there's 6 trash can. 6 items that we've all seen in hardcore wrestling matches. So they really nailed it with this. And I was really hyped to get a chance to do this. So once again, thanks Scott and the guys at WizKids. It was a great experience, and I really hope you guys get a chance to look at this stuff, both in the pictures and in the video, because me and Scott had a lot of fun with it, and you get a good look at how all the powers seem to function in this set. All right, so I've schmoozed about that, schmozzed about that. What's my future in this whole weird metagame? I'm looking at robots. I think I've said it briefly, but I'm going to say it again. I'm liking the Danger Room robots in conjunction with Isaac there and ID Kurt Collins and all kinds of neat stuff. Robot is really starting to look awesome again, and I'm not going to hesitate to build some robot theme teams with a lot of the stuff in X-Men. And my popper build is going to be a wacky one, but I am going to talk about other formats or other teams that have potential in the format. So, if I was to go ahead and say, how am I going to do 2020 better in Worlds? Step 1 is going to be practice, and it's going to use all the resources I have available to me for practice. I am going to get over my nonsense about Roll20 and just play the game on it. It's fine. It's going to be a great tool, I think, to practice the game. I don't know if I'm going to be necessarily playing in the Battle Royales. The timing on them is a little weird for my personal life because we do a lot of this already, like this stuff, and I don't have a whole lot of time for those in a lot of cases. So if the opportunity presents itself, maybe I'll jump in on those, but for the most part, I'm probably not all in on that yet. We'll see. But I will do my best to participate more for sure in practice and everything. And here's hoping my schedule maintains and doesn't mess with me. All right. What else will I do next year? Next year I will continue to be the weird guy, because I feel like if I would have gone with what people were playing myself, I would have been bored, angry, and even if I was winning, I'd have been like, yeah, won, whatever. Yeah. I will also de-age myself because I'm apparently plenty too old to be doing this. Isaac, congratulations. You're so awesome at the game, buddy. This is his second sort of world title, as it were. If you include the Rock World Cup when it was I don't think it's a thing anymore. Like there's still the Rock Cup, but I don't think it's kind of on the level that it is nowadays as far as like consideration. But a Rock Cup champion is still a Rock Cup champion. We're gonna say that, and I think even in the new form of it, where I believe Daniel won again. Yeah, Daniel beat Tom, Jason. Duh. It's like me and Tom say, there can be only one winner, and if you can't have fun not being that guy, well, then 114 people would have been upset. So, yeah. So when it comes down to it, yeah, you did mention he won nationals. So all he's got to do is add Canadian nationals, and he's done everything he could do in North America. He's won U.S. nationals, he's won Worlds, he's run Rock Cup. So if he gets Canadian nationals, he's got all of North America covered. So come on up, Isaac, win that one. Although I will fight this year. We will fight. We fought this year. All right. I think I've babbled enough. Worlds, please do this again at WizKids. If we have to do it at Memphis every year, I love it. I'm good. It was a great venue. It was a great time. I had a lot of fun. It's not going to be easy to travel for everybody, but finding that is like just fundamentally impossible, I think. I don't think there's any easy way to 100% make everybody happy with where the event is. And I think if I had to settle for Memphis, I'd be happy with it. And I'm coming from another country, and it was a $200 flight each way. So that is where I stand on that one. So 10 out of 10 we'll do again. All right, so we're going to move to questions. If you have any questions in the chat, throw them in there. And happy little Heroclix at the first one, which was good seeing you over the weekend. It was a pleasure meeting you as well, seeing you again as well. Sorry, I was a little bit more hectic this weekend between all the conversations I was having and all the games I was playing. And, just a lot. The more and more I go to these events, the more and more I find my attention is demanded. And so I apologize if it seemed like I was blowing anybody off. I get distracted and have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, a lot of hands to shake. Though, if Emily sends you on the ID card game again, you're going to be the reason that I do the Tony Stark and stop taking handshakes and accepting anything. I now sympathize with Tony Stark because I created a stupid game. It's my fault. But yes, I did have fun. And my first impression of the WWE after playing the starter is, yes, it's so good. And the real feel of the pin attempt is awesome. Even though you could go for the knockout, the pin is it's a free action after popping off your special or your signature maneuvers. So, go for it. It's a free action. Whatever. Go for the pin, then go for the submission hold. Do whatever. There's so much fundamentally good in this. Like, as an example, if you watch the video with me and Scott, at one point I lightning striked, I think, or moved in I think I used a Meteora with Sasha Banks to attack somebody, followed up with a submission hold, and also stun as a power. Stun's got a lot of potential as a power, man, let me tell you. Flurry stun is going to be somebody's nightmare at some point because it's -1 attack, -1 damage if you hit with it. Such a good power. I think that'll even trigger on hypersonic. What is it? So, Ryan Nelson in the chat, what do you think of the new X-Men set, and who are your favorite pieces from that set? I love the set. It's so cool. I love that X-Men every time there's an X-Men set, my creative bones just bubble up, and just the creativity goes crazy, and I did enjoy getting a chance to use everything that was available. In the end, I'm loving Sentinels. I'm loving where they are. I love the Brotherhood. There's a lot of cool stuff with them. And I love robots. So robots and Sentinels are kind of where we're putting our minds. So we will see. Shadow King Stealth Sentinel would just be a nightmare. You know what? I am not impartial. I'm not against the Red Onslaught. I want to see if I can make something with him. I believe the ruler keyword might be the best direction with him, but it remains to be seen. So, all things considered, I'm hyped for the set, and I'm hyped for some of the fun stuff that I'm going to make with it, which I'm going to start coming up with some ideas next week. It will partially depend on the HC Realms unit section, how I present it. So I may have to come up with documents ahead of time. We'll see how I can do it. But I'm really looking forward to sharing some of my ideas in the future on Into the Mind of Madness for that set. This Thursday, check out whatever I call the show, prep for states. It might just be another... I just might be a way of organizing Into the Mind of Madness. We will see. But all in all, I'm really excited to the future of the channel in Post Worlds, and hope that we can really deliver to you guys the sort of content that you deserve, and that makes us proud, and just reminds everybody how awesome this game that Heroclix is. So without further ado, that's everything from this mind. It was madness because you've stepped into the mind of madness. Have a good night, everybody, and enjoy yourselves. I forgot something. Don't forget, this Friday, we are having our 3,000 subscriber celebration at AMA. So if you have any questions for myself or Amber, we're going to be here live. You can use the chat, or we post it on Facebook and our Facebook community group, the Married with Clicks community group. It's not, even though it's listed as private, we accept everybody who isn't obviously a robot. Beep boop. And we're going to answer your questions. It doesn't necessarily have to be about Heroclix, about anything, but get them on that Facebook post. Get them on the other Facebook post. If you're a Patreon, you can be that at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Pop it in our Discord. We have a Discord channel for the AMA, or if you're watching it live, pop it in the chat. Put it in the comments of this video if you want. Just say in the comment for the AMA, and we'll check it all out for you guys. I apologize for missing that and giving you the things. Yes, this is officially an MCU movie, guys. Nick Fury is about to come and invite me to the Avengers? Nah. Have a good night, guys.